Hey everybody, I'm Yvonne with Back to Earth Creations, and I want to show you guys how I'm making this dragon that's right here. It is my very first dragon bust. I put a bunch of stuff on the table, so I can't really move it to show you, but we'll put in more pictures and video, you'll see. So what I've done is the armature for this is a little bit of 4x4 and a motorcycle helmet display stand and a bunch of this Great Stuff foam. We used some of the regular gap filler that just like expands by 1 inch. I prefer the stuff that expands up to 3 inches because I had less poxing and like pits where there wasn't foam. I wanted to make my own, high density foam really would have been, what I was aiming for. But with the 1 inch stuff, there was be a lot of trapped air bubbles between the little noodles that. But so this one's my favorite, and the price was very comparable between the two. But this did what I needed it to do better. And then we cast our own horns. I had sculpted these gray horns, and we'll show you some, there'll be like editing will be happening, and you'll get to see what I'm talking about instead of me just telling you about it. I'm going to keep talking to you about the cosplay. It's really nice. I'm very, very happy with Sculpt. I used the medium firm on this one, and I think that's my favorite. The extra firm is, I'm still glad to have the extra firm, medium firm, and soft all in my collection of clays to work with, because sometimes I really like putting down the soft clay first and then just to get the form, and then using medium firm as like a skin over that, and then whenever I want to make really fine details like tiny little teeth or claws or spikes, I like to use the extra firm. Just because it doesn't get so soft that it starts to stick to my fingers. But that cosplay was awesome, and I've been also using the glow cosplays for, sorry, I'm like, I need to put down the ducky, but I've been using the glow cosplays, and I absolutely love them, and that's what we backed all of the baubles and the eyes with, and that's also what I made the glowing starfish out of, as well as I sculpt a lot of different elements out of the glow cosplay because it is so vibrant and so pretty. Now, I had used just regular, I've got some bulk, kind of didn't hold up well, like original Sculpey, like just the plain white plasticine Sculpey that gets really crumbly, gets really brittle, is super, super soft and sticky to work with. I've also had it in the drawer for almost like 8 years at this point, but I love it for making things that I'm going to make a mold out of that I don't mind if it breaks. And one of those things was making these molds for, I had sculpted some spikes, and they're the spikes that we have going down the back of our dragon here, and I'll put in some pictures of what those look like, and I'll also put in some pictures of what those look like glowing, because oh my god, we use Art and Glow pigments. None of this stuff is sponsored, by the way. These are just the products that I use because they're my favorite so far. If you have a favorite, let me know, because I'm always looking to try something new. But we put it into like a cup or something. I don't remember how we did this. It was complicated and it didn't need to be, but I'm really good at making things complicated. But it worked out in the end, so it's fine. This was the largest one, and then, but this is what enabled us, y'all, to be able to, so these are the smallest ones, to be able to just replicate. So I can, and I tried to make it on these horns that they would be perfectly fine as just, they're what I like to use for the ridges down the snouts. And on this first time doing a whole neck and everything, usually we just do like a stuff like this bad boy that like sits on your head so you can be a dragon person. Those are what we usually do. This one's my first time doing it like as a wall mount, like taxidermy. My hands are so full. I have to sit something down. You gotta put down the ducky if you want to play the saxophone. Okay. Where were we? So these enable me to make it to where I can do these spike rows on the sides very easily. We just cast them out of smooth cast something. It's the color match one. That cures quickly. That one's my favorite so far. It's the favorite that I've used. And it just makes, I can put in all the time and effort and energy that I want or need to into making the master spike set, and then I make a mold of it and just cast it and cast it and cast it, and depending on what type of fillers I use or additives to the resin, we can get really different results. And that's just fantastic. So we can make glow spikes, we can make really metallic looking spikes, we can make them very translucent, which that is my favorite, because my first go-to would be casting out of the Foam at 8 or the expanding foam, just to keep things as absolutely lightweight as possible. Mostly because, I don't know, it just seemed easier to work with, but that's been the constraint that I've been working under whenever we make the dragon heads, is, you know, keeping it very, very lightweight. So resin's heavier, but it's translucent, and that's something that foam and the Cos clay and even other polymer clays in this thickness, I couldn't have the almost clear as glass see-through that I can get with resin, that kind of translucent quality. And so that's what I do for a lot of the spikes, is to let the glow come through. And then also, like that dragon head that I had on, the purple Spyro, you can plant LEDs in the bottom of the resin spikes, and that way they like literally glow, and it is so cool. But I also did that with the teeth. I had made a set of teeth that I was like, these are good enough. I think I might make another one, but it makes it really nice to just cast some teeth. You file them down so everyone's a little bit different, but it gives me a really nice array of base plug sizes that I can then shape down into whatever tooth design I'm looking for. They also make fantastic spikes for like down the nasal ridge and around the eye. It's just more resin pieces to work with that I can just kind of poke into the piece and go. Now, the Foam at 8 that we did for it's like a DIY styrofoam. We get, so far, just about all of our stuff, I just go to Smooth On. Again, not sponsored. They're just what I've been learning on, so they're what I'm using. Like, we use their Freeform Air to do the sculpting and stuff that I'm about to show you guys in the next step. I just wanted to get us caught up to how we got to here. This is some of the Freeform Air, by the way. Very lightweight, pretty nice and strong. To make the mold, we used Rebound 25, and then we covered it in Freeform Air. And this one, you can see it's got a little like hole for it, just vents out. This is the 2-piece mold that we made for this dragon head. We used the mold release, like a Mold Max or something. I don't know. It's whatever, really, it's whatever we have on hand. Here's one right here. I left it on my porch, so it's sun bleached, but it's rocket release, and you gotta use it because you got to. Like, those instructions, they mean it, y'all. But these ones, very nice and lightweight. This is how the foam cast comes out of this mold. And we put like rubber bands and hair ties and stuff around it to keep it tight, because this foam will expand and extrude out the back. But this way, we sculpted the original out of monster clay and then did a brush on mold of that. So it already gives us a pretty base level. And these are for our dragon headdresses and wall sculptures. This knocks out a lot of the work on the front end. And we want to set it up to where we could do like a DIY dragon kit, where this would be one of the parts, and then you can build on it however you want. But that way, it's just a little like buying a blank horn or a styrofoam ball or something, that it's like to just kind of make our own custom foam blanks that you could then take and piece together in different ways however you want, you know, and just experiment and have fun with it. Because I have a lot of fun making my own dragons, but I want to see what your dragon looks like, because it's just such a fun way of like being creative and self-expression and just having fun. And oh my gosh, I love that. So we take being silly very seriously around here. But yeah, so I think that's everything so far. We have some other videos that'll be linked down in the video description of like how to make this thing here. So if you wanted to make a wearable dragon head, but moving forward, oh, there's a kitty outside. Gotta focus. Moving forward, all of the steps and techniques that I'm doing on this whole bust are the same thing, whether I'd be doing one of these or whether I'm doing one of these. So same materials, same sculpting techniques. I'm so excited. Let's get into it. I do a few touch-ups with a rasp and razor knife. All the details and horns are tacked in place with hot glue. I mix up 25 grams each of Part A and Part B of Freeform Air by Smooth On. This first layer of Freeform Air is to make a skin over all foam and to secure any details that are relying on just hot glue. I want to make those connections more secure right away. As per the Smooth On website, Freeform Air is described as an extremely lightweight epoxy putty suitable for an infinite variety of industrial and art-related applications. This is a low-odor, low-shrinkage putty that is unique, inexpensive, and easy to use. Freeform Air is mixed by hand with 1 part A and 1 part B by volume or weight mix ratio. It offers a long working time and cures overnight at room temperature to a hard, rigid epoxy that is very strong. And it goes on to read, cured Freeform Air is so lightweight, it will float in water. It can be sanded, shaped, and drilled, and it will readily accept any paint. Freeform Air can also be color pigmented with UVO or Ignite colorants. Now, I haven't done that, but I cover it with acrylic paint, and that makes me very happy, and it does a really good job. Even with, we have a test piece, our lumpy mushroom, that is weathering all sorts of year-round weather outside, and it still seems to be holding up well. So I'm reserving judgment, but I have hope in my heart that I will be able to use Freeform Air for outdoor sculpture applications in the future. I just want to do a little bit more trial testing before like committing a whole big dragon to being outside all the time. Even though the layer of Freeform Air that I'm applying is likely to be completely covered by future layers of details, I warm up and test out different textures and techniques here. Playing around on this layer lets me explore and feel out new ideas without the level of commitment that comes with the final layers. And if any parts of this first layer are still visible, they are contributing to the beauty and the details of the final result, giving even more life and magic to our dragon. So Randy is greatly helping in that he is prepping all of the Freeform Air up into an empty Freeform Air bucket. And these are 25-gram balls of Part A, and then he does the same thing to Part B for me. It is so handy to have pre-measured balls so I can just whip up a new batch and keep sculpting. I keep a small old teacup used exclusively for this task of water on hand so I can dip my gloved fingers or tools. The water is excellent for smoothing the Freeform Air and modifying its consistency. Sometimes I can make a small bit of clay into a watery slurry paste and spread this over a surface to increase the adhesion of new Freeform Air being added to a layer of cured Freeform Air, or in this case, to the foam that doesn't always accept the clay that I'm trying to add. If there is a crafter, there is a way, and being patient with myself and being patient with the project will get us through any frustrations. Obstacles and difficulties are unavoidable, but opportunities for creativity. Freeform Air performs best in different ways in different stages of its pot life. Freshly mixed Freeform Air is very fluffy, sticks well to things, gloved hands and tools especially, and spreads really well. Whereas 20 minutes or so later, it has a much stiffer consistency and takes details readily. I like to apply a batch or two and then start adding texture and details without gunking the tools up horribly. And I use a continuous sprayer to apply a fine mist of water over my work area to facilitate easy tool use. And I also keep a pad of paper towel prepped to wipe the tip of my tool on. There is a line of balance I tried to find between mixing enough Freeform Air and being able to get it used up within its pot time. Everything else is just fun. I really enjoyed sculpting this dragon in our live streams on Kick. I want to give a big shout out to everyone who came and kept me company in the craft room while we sculpted and got creative together. Y'all rock. If you are interested in seeing a sculpture in real time, be sure to check us out over on Kick Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays from 3 to 6 p.m. Or the better advice would be to check out our website, backtoearthcreations.com, where we post up-to-date schedules of, our live streams and what events we'll be vending at and different things like that. I don't mean to just gloss over all the layers of details that I've added to this dragon, but this was the only video I was able to get. So that's these progress shots taken in between batches. It took us around 2 weeks to complete this sculpture, with most of the action happening in the last 5 days of getting it finished before Christmas so that it could be delivered to the client in time. I am hopeful I will be able to capture more video of our next dragon sculpt, which we've already begun, which I'm really excited about. 4 to 5 layers of liquid latex are applied as a repel to block paint from building up on the eyes, teeth, glow horns, and spirals, and other details. This seems time-consuming, like excessively time-consuming to me while I'm doing it, but it is so worth it because, well, you'll see. Y'all, I was so intimidated by airbrushing, but oh my god, I am so glad I gave it another go. I have so much room for improvement with my airbrushing technique, but even at my low skill level, being able to quickly add layers of paint that are almost instantly dry, at least compared to how I paint with a brush, it's game changing. And the gradients and the translucency and just so many, it's such a wonderful tool to have in my skill set. Even at, a level 1, This tabletop easel has been a game changer. We have the whole sculpture mounted to a baseboard that fits in the easel well, and I'm still able to access any part of the sculpture and achieve any angle that I need, with some awkward angles and just make and do where we can. If y'all have any tips on airbrushing, I would love to hear them. After airbrushing, I carefully remove the latex. This often pulls off some of the paint with it, but this first layer of paint is just the foundation. We'll be adding more hand-painted details and coats of invisible glow paint before we are finished. Stay tuned to the end to see it glowing. I apply a wash of black satin acrylic paint over the entire dragon. I definitely need more practice and patience with this step. Any tips that y'all have are helpful. I dry brush with a white acrylic paint to make the next few layers of neon paints really pop. I wish so much that I could show y'all every magical moment of making this dragon, but this is all that I captured on video. We are already working on a new dragon sculpture, so be sure to subscribe and sign up for our newsletter at backtoearthcreations.com to stay up to date. And this dragon is already at its new home. The client was very pleased, as are we. I never thought my career as an artist would be taking such a completely different turn after 20 years of being a jewelry artist predominantly. Like, I'd always dabbled in having fun with making fairy houses and making some different cosplay accessories and stuff. But over the past 2 or 3 years, I've been getting more and more into making dragon mask headdresses for our biggest vending event of the year, DragonCon. But it was always part of we were still, jewelry, but also costumes. Whereas now this is my very first sculpture. And oh my God, you guys, I think I'm going to quit my job as a jewelry designer and become a sculptor. But until then, I'm just going to keep doing wherever my heart and passion pulls me. And so thank you guys so much for being here. And this is how the dragon looks when it's glowing. This is the only video that I got of it glowing, but it was so cool, you guys. It doesn't just fluoresce under a black light, it also glows in the dark. So I'll do better on the next video, and I will see you guys there. So until then, thank you for being here, and happy crafting. Mwah. Bye.